Hi, Mark Mandelbaum again from Lanterra, and we're here again with Lanterra Live, another exciting episode with one of my best friends in the industry, probably one of the most knowledgeable people in the real estate brokerage community, George Kozaris, who I don't know if you follow him, and if you don't, you should, has probably most of the insightful comments on the market today. So, George, times are really crappy, right? And nobody wants to hear about that anymore. We're all sick of it. So people really want to know what you do to have fun, particularly in these trying times. Like, what do you do to have fun?
I try and focus on what will be in the future, Mark. Okay, so I try and navigate through these times like many others. And there's a lot of suffering out there, and the suffering continues. I'm thinking that the suffering is going to end. And we're going to start to see signs of that come this winter and then into a very, very hot, in my opinion, spring market. And the reason why I say that is because to take us back, interest rates. So from July 2023 to May 2024, the Bank of Canada prime rate was at 5%. Meaning that big A banks were charging 7.2 to 7.35 because that's what their premium is over the Bank of Canada rate for 11 months during that time. That was the peak. That was the highest, okay? So Bank of Canada prime 5%, big A banks 7.2 to 7.35, okay? And somebody's got to look at that gap, because that gap of 2.2 to 2.35 over the Bank of Canada prime rate that big A banks are allowed to charge us, I think it's way too wide. So what the big A banks do is they discount that rate. Well, you're getting a special rate, half off. They're still making huge. Now, I'm not that too close to that on the inside of things, but if they're getting money at 5%, and charging 2.2 to 2.35 or 1.5 to 1.75 discounted, that's a huge amount of profit that they're making. Anyway, getting back to it, Bank of Canada rate was 5% from July 2023 to May of 2024. June, a quarter point tick down. So from 5 went to 4.75. Today, we're at 2.5%. Half of what it was, okay? So we had an all-time high, short all-time high of 5%. Now we're at 2.5. Big A bank prime on variables and lines of credit is still 2.2 to 2.35 premium. So now we're at 4.7, 4.85. And you can get, let's say, half off or whatever the discount is. 2.5% interest on a downtick should have spurred the housing market in the spring of 2025. But it didn't. And we all know why. Because of the uncertainty surrounding initially the tariffs, right? But I think now, Mark, the uncertainty is no longer surrounding the tariffs. I think the uncertainty and more or less the confidence and buyer confidence is as a result of 7 months of no action by our government. We don't have any direction, and we don't have, in my opinion, any accomplishments. So that's key now. We need to see accomplishments. We need to see direction. And I think that may add to the spring market in 2026, which I think is going to be hot, because we're going to get, in my opinion, another quarter point tick on October 29, and another quarter point tick on December 11, December 10, December 11, which hopefully, cross our fingers, will bring prime rate down to 2%. 2% year end. Cross our fingers. US Fed's leading that way anyway, right? They're cutting. So hopefully we'll follow the leader. We get 2%. If we get some accomplishments by the government, if we get some direction from the government, look out for spring of 2026, Mark. That would mean 3 full percentage points a reduction in interest rates, which can potentially cause a huge surge because we've been in, let's say, 5 years of sideliners now. 2 years COVID, 2 years rate hikes, and now 1 year or half a year of the uncertainty because of the tariffs. And I'm going to say the other half a year of the uncertainty, not because of the tariffs, but because of our government direction and accomplishments that's creating uncertainty.
Okay, well, that's very insightful. George, you probably know this more than anybody else. The thing you keep hearing about more than anything else right now, and I think most people would agree it's not tariffs anymore, there's a
Right.
glut of condos. They have to be soaked up. And part of the problem with soaking that up is this combination of banks giving appraisals, people being scared to close, people
Right.
walking away, people being desperate who particularly can't close this unit or that unit. And that sort of sets in motion a price spiral down. And since nobody knows where that's going to end, that doesn't get absorbed. What stops that spiral?
Well, I think you mentioned, Mark, before that you can't build at 900 or 1,000 a foot. You mentioned that before, George. We just simply can't build for that. We don't know where our profits are going to be, if our profits are any, or if we're going to build a site that's going to be negative. So from one perspective that, and I posted this on my chat as well, 2 years out, the supply falls off a cliff in terms of new supply coming on board. So once as that existing supply gets absorbed, and I'd be buying that existing supply right now because there's nowhere those prices per square foot could be had on a new pre-construction price list, because you can't build, and other builders I'm sure can't build for that price per square foot on a new construction price list. So Mark, again, it's just a matter of time. It's not the interest rates. I don't think it's the interest rates as much as it's no confidence in where we're going, right? Once that starts happening, there's not that much supply there if you really look at it versus time, right? And then because I say time, I say, okay, couple years, let's say it gets eaten up in a couple years, then what? There's nothing there, Mark. There's nothing there because we're not building anything now for there to be something there later. So I think the hump is already passed. I think the supply 2025, we've seen a hit 24. 26 goes down, I think, to 18,000 from 30,000, okay? And then it just drops off a cliff. And some of those projections, some of those predictions are including sites that have been canceled, sites that have been in receivership. So some of those early projections in 24 about 27, 28, 29, and 30, they were factoring in, well, that's in sales, or that's in pre-sales, or they're just about to go to pre-sales. So they're not including the sites that have been wiped out, which there are many, right? So in my opinion, Mark, I think that today, this year will potentially be the last year of bottomed out pricing in the condo market, resale market, right? And with that being said, this can get explosive to the upside because of the sideliners, because the appetite for real estate isn't going away, because people need a home. The big problem now, again, is the confidence in our leadership.
So tell me, George, if you had a coffee with Carney and you were able to tell him three things he could do right off the bat to turn things around, what would they be?
Okay, so just to talk about Mr. Carney there, initially, the Liberal government, I said, okay, Carney, well, he's got a business resume, right? So I was hopeful. I was hopeful about the business resume, although Liberal Party principles, the Liberal, 8 years of Liberals, I was hopeful that Carney would change and lean towards more business, more growth. Mark, we haven't seen that. Our GDP Q2 was minus 0.4. China's 4.8. They're calling a week. We're contracting. Our economy's contracting. I believe August was 0.2%. China's calling their GDP weak at 4.85. We're not even at 1%. We're not even Q2 at 0%. So we're not growing, Mark, right? So I would tell them, one, focus on the economy. You got to implement stimulus. I never hear about stimulus from Mr. Carney. I hear about we're adding 12 submarines, looking at 12 submarines. We're giving millions and billions for the war effort. We're helping out earthquake victims. That's all great. But what are we doing for the economy here? What are we doing for Canadians? What are we doing to grow our economy? What are we doing to, number two, create jobs? What about our infrastructure? Right? So stimulus, infrastructure, economy, tariffs with Trump. Let's get a deal. How come we don't have a deal? Australia just signed 8.5 billion with rare earth minerals or something like that. Australia, they're on the other side of the world. We're next door. We don't have a deal. What are we doing? Big question mark. What are we doing? That's why you're not getting the kickstart on housing. It's no longer interest rates. We know interest rates are going down. No longer inflation. My opinion, it's a leadership, government leadership that's creating the uncertainty now and questioning where's our direction.
George, I don't know if you could say it any better than that. And we kind of hope
You give me
that
too much credit. You give me too much credit.
No, we're kind of hoping that Carney watches these podcasts. We're just going to have to sort of.
Well, I always said Mr. Wonderful or Barry Fenton for Prime Minister, and last time you said I don't know. I think George, you said God help us all or something.
So George, look, we are honored that you are probably our most common guest at our podcast for Lanterra Live.
I'm honored. I truly am. Anything to help the business.
We'd love to have you very frequently because, again, nobody has their finger on the pulse as you do. Yes. We're hoping that your insights get around, so we post this, broadly on our social media, and hopefully they get reposted. But it is true if the government would just do a little things to kickstart stuff within their power, things could change very rapidly.
We need accomplishments. Again, business resume, great. Bring it to the table, right?
Yeah, well, let's have a meeting with all our MPs and
what have we done?
And get the message across.
What have we done?
No, that's.
I'm not trying to slam the guy. I'm just saying, show me what you've done. That way we can do things too.
All right.
But if you're not showing me anything, we may not do anything.
So George, you look like a young whippersnapper still, and it doesn't look like you're going to be retiring. So obviously, you have your eyes set that there's a future to this industry.
Yes, of course. We're in residential real estate, of course.
And one of the great things about you is that you don't get hung up by today's bad news. You kind of look forward, and you're positioning yourself and your clients to do that.
I'm working hard. Just like when I was busy, like in terms of doing deals.
And
I'm just planting seeds for the harvest. That's all I'm doing today, and doing a lot of rentals.
But one of the great things about George, if you don't know who he has some very dedicated clients, and they listen to him because over the years, and year out, they made money with you.
Yes.
And that's a very nice thing. Very few people could say that because you care.
Well, I'm loyal to them, and they're loyal to me. Loyalty works both ways, just like a marriage, a business relationship, same thing.
And we could say the same thing about Lanterra because we've had a very loyal friendship and business relationship for many years. We cherish that,
very true.
And we look forward to continuing that for many years ahead. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me, Mark.
And let's hope somebody up there is listening.
I'm sure they will.